Hi everyone. I hope I'm audible. So we'll start in a minute or two. So this is week 3 live session. So we'll start in a minute.
Hello, yeah. Hi, Manjari. Hi, Amrita.
Hi Mosumi.
Hello.
Uh,
Yeah.
I think you're not audible. Like your voice is. I can't hear your voice.
Can you hear me now?
Can you raise the volume?
It is okay. Just a minute, huh?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Is it
Yeah. Now it's better,
okay?
but a little more louder is better, I think.
All
Uh,
right, all right. I'll try to be louder. Yeah. Can you hear
yeah.
me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Great.
Yes. Yes, Manjari, I can hear you. Yeah.
So I think in the students' response sheet, we haven't got any questions there. So I'll read the questions from discussion forum. So if any of the students have any questions, sorry, hello. Okay. So
Yeah.
if any of you want to ask any questions regarding week 3 session, sorry, just uh, so there is a technical error. Just give me a minute to solve this. So we'll begin in a minute.
All right.
Sorry about that. So in week 3, we have Mausami Ghosh from Nature Conservation Foundation, for the lecture Life History and Foraging Behavior. And we haven't got any questions in the Google response sheet. That is sent like 3 days before, like before the live session. But we got a few questions in the discussion forum. So I can read out that, yeah. Hi, Mausmi, I can read the questions, right?
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
please go ahead.
Yeah. So this is from the foraging behavior. Like
Okay.
the birds can communicate among themselves about the foraging sites. Is it limited to the same species, or they can be able to inform the other species about the food? For example, can a myna able to convey a drongo about abundance of food in a particular area?
Okay, so typically this communication exchange of information is talked about in within the same species, especially social birds which roost together. So that's where the reference comes from, like the communication regarding resources. But in some other instances, like mixed foraging flocks and all that, they might follow individuals of other species to locate uh, resources as well. Yeah.
I hope that clarifies the question. So if the students want any further follow-up questions, please ask.
Yeah.
Or else I'll move to the next question. Uh, So one more question we have, like, do birds exhibit behaviors such as depression and suicidal tendencies? There are stories about birds that mate for life. Okay, this is, I think, from mating, breeding behavior. This is a question for Manjari.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, I'll repeat the question. So, do birds exhibit behaviors such as depression and suicidal tendencies? There are stories about birds that mate for life. When one partner dies, the other partner ends its life too. Example, Saurus cranes. So, they exhibit the behaviors such as depression or suicidal tendencies? That's the question from Shruti. Yeah.
There is no scientific evidence for this, that they have suicidal tendencies or depression. But yes, it is true that many birds mate for life. And at least in the Lasian albatross, when the pair, one of the individuals of the pair was no longer alive, so when it died, the bird mated with a different pair and again mated till and remained with the same individual for a long period of time. But there is no, to my knowledge, there is no scientific evidence for depression or a suicidal tendency.
Yeah. So one more question. Could you please explain about the mating system in volcano birds? What is their mating strategies? How the chicks adapted and their breeding behavior about volcano birds?
I have no idea. Volcano birds? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Was it part of the course?
So this is from mating and breeding behavior. Uh, they have, let me check who asked the question. If the person is there, please ask the same question. What did you? I couldn't see any name. It's just an email.
Limited by the available.
Sorry. So this is part of the polyandry they have asked specifically in the session. So when you are taking polyandry,
Yeah.
they have asked about the mating system in volcano birds. But
So in polyandry, I am not sure what happens with the volcano bird. So I am unable to answer this question. But polyandry, what I had talked about is the spotted sandpiper and some concepts about polyandry, that whether true, how common is true polyandry, which is actually very rare, and the two different kinds of polyandry. So one is resource defense polyandry, and then sexual role reversal. Yeah.
yes. So let's move to the, if students have any questions, please post in the live chat or in the Google response sheet. Okay, so there is one more question. I think this question for Mosumi. In species that exhibit extreme longevity, such as the Laysan albatross, how do they balance the physiological cost of long distance foraging with the high energy demands of a single chick breeding cycle?
Okay, so what I had covered in the life history lecture was exactly these kinds of trade-offs. So species that invest a lot in their in adult survival, which is the case in case for this Laysan albatrosses. So they are investing a lot of energy in ensuring that they live for a very long time. So most of their energy goes in self-maintenance, and as a result of that, they have very they are able to produce single chick at a time and infrequently. So these are the two costs that birds are trying to balance, like how much they invest in ensuring their own self maintenance and longevity versus how much they are investing towards reproduction. So most birds on the other extreme are birds which live for a very short time. They might be having like larger clutch sizes. They might be producing like 5 6 eggs every year, and within a season, if they lose that clutch also, they'll reproduce again to compensate for that. So in both these cases, what they're trying to do is get to a high fitness in terms of uh, how much reproductive success they can accumulate over a lifetime. So you can do that in a short lifetime by producing a lot of chicks, and or you can do it by investing in your own longevity but producing fewer chicks which receive more parental care, as is the case with the albatross. Yeah. If you have any follow-up queries, please feel free to ask it.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So please post if you have any questions, particularly regarding the week 3 lectures, life history, foraging behavior, and mating and breeding behavior. So I have come across all the questions posted in the live document and also question discussion forum. So that's all about the questions. Now, if any questions, please post in the live chat. Otherwise, we'll wind up the session in 5 or 10 minutes if there is no question. You can unmute yourself and ask the question also.
I have a particular question about breeding. So I just wanted to know, how do birds resolve parent-offspring conflict in years of low resource availability? Specifically, what are the physiological triggers that cause a parent to favor brood reduction, letting the weakest chick die, versus parental desertion, abandoning the entire nest? That's what it means. I mean, to preserve their own future reproductive value.
Manjari, would you like to take it or shall I go ahead? Manjari, would you like to take this question or shall I
I
go
think you have Manjari.
Yes.
ahead?
So the question, I think, can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. It's perfectly fine. Actually, it has two parts to it. So I'll just go ahead with the first part. So how do birds resolve parent-offspring conflict in years of low resource availability?
So by parent-offspring conflict, you mean that how much resources allocated to each individual?
Yes, exactly.
Although this was not covered in my mating
Okay, I
behavior.
think I think I could do that if you
Yeah.
want me to. Yeah. So the thing is like the conflict is in more in terms of them not being able to fledge the chicks. If there are not enough resources, they're just not going to be able to bring those chicks up, and there's going to be high mortality. Can you clarify?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, based on that, what you said, based on the thing you mentioned, what are the physiological triggers that cause a parent to favor brood reduction? Because you mentioned that if there's lots of competition within the nest, for example, there may be brood reduction. So, I just wanted to know what would be the physiological triggers that would actually uh, pop in.
Physiological triggers, I just think it is going to be more to do with them not finding enough resources to feed the chicks. If they keep coming back and finding chicks starving and
Okay.
dying off, yeah, yeah.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
So there is. Sure, sure. Please, Srivastava, please unmute and you can ask the question.
No, actually, there's no question, but I learned about this concept, which is kleptoparasitism, and I have an experience to share when I just encountered this concept yesterday. I just want to share an experience regarding it, if you allow me.
Yeah, sure, please.
Yeah. So when I read this thing yesterday and got to know that Drongo does this, so I just got I recalled a 6 month back period when I was I do a little bit of birding here in Jaipur, Rajasthan. So I was doing birding in my park where I go to walk, and there I was tracking for few months a shikra bird, the raptor family, and I was quite familiar with shikra calls, and I was quite excited those days that whenever I heard a shikra. So one day I was in office, and suddenly on the first floor I heard a call of shikra, and I was like, oh my god, I just ran to the third floor, and I was like, shikra hai, and I saw the drongos. And when I saw the drongo, I actually concluded by that day, कि, okay, drongo must be also having this sound. So I said, okay, and I moved on. And for 6 months, I never got into all this thing. But yesterday, when I read this, I thought I was fooled by a drongo. And I was like, कि, oh, this is so much true. And I am now reading it in theory that this is actually a bird is actually doing this. And I connected it like this, that how that bird is using that thing for other birds to trigger a social response, to leave their food and to create panic, and a human being was fooled by that thing. And I was thinking, oh, like how this is so magical and so wonderful that even a human being can be fooled, and I was fooled for 6 months. And thanks to the lesson that and the faculty for teaching this, and it's like a wonder to me.
Thank you, Shrey. Thank you for sharing the experience, and that's the beauty, right? Yeah, thank you so much. So there is a question regarding the food. Like when there is less food, is there an internal fight between the adult birds regarding the foraging?
Okay, when there is less food, obviously, like competition is going to increase among adults for food. And anybody who is in a better shape to access and consume those resources is going to probably do better in terms of yeah, survival and and possibly reproduction also.
Uh, yeah, thank you, Mosami. And I think in the live session there is one more question, live chat. Using the Orient pied hornbill as an example, a long-lived species around 25 to 35 years that begins breeding relatively early, around 2 to 3 years, with small clutch sizes and high parental investment. Does it conform to life history theory mainly through low reproductive output and intensive parental care rather than delayed first reproduction? Uh, do you want me
Yeah,
to repeat the
sure.
question?
No, I'm fine.
No.
So the thing is, all these factors have to like what natural selection acts on is the final reproductive, or rather fitness of the individual, which is quantified both based on the reproductive success, like how many offspring does that individual produce during its lifetime, and how many of those offspring are then able to grow, and reach the age of reproduction. So both these things matter in selecting which of these strategies work well. So in case of oriental pied hornbills,
Hornbill.
oriental pied hornbills, what you have mentioned is the combination of factors that seems to work well for this particular species.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Another question regarding parental care. If parental care is insufficient to provide adequate food or resources, will evolutionary selection favor pairs that produce larger clutches with smaller offspring? And also, is this our selection?
Okay, if parental care is insufficient to provide adequate
Adequate.
resources, okay, will evolutionary smaller offsprings?
I think Livy, can you please unmute and
Yeah,
you can
explain.
ask
Yeah.
directly, like.
Okay, based on how the question is framed, it all depends on, how these individuals, the offspring, are able to fare. So, for instance, if uh, smaller, like a whole clutch of smaller individuals are able to survive given these conditions of insufficient parental care with the available resources, a large proportion of them are able to survive, then selection will favor this strategy, otherwise not. And you refer to R selection, and it is true that in species where R selection is the life history strategy, there's hardly any parental care, and the focus is on producing lot of small offspring.
So I hope that answer clarifies the question. Do you want any follow-up question? Please unmute and ask.
I have one question, if I may. I have a question
Sure,
about
sure.
good genes hypothesis versus the genetic compatibility hypothesis. So there's just one question which is about like specifically, are females looking for the strongest male, or are they looking for a mate whose immune system genes, MHC, are most different from their own to produce hardier offspring?
Shall I address
Yes.
this?
Yes,
Amrita?
Manjari. Yeah, I think it's for you. Yeah.
Yeah. So This is from, just give me a reminder, this is from which lecture? Is this from mating systems?
Yes, mating
Yes,
system.
yes, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So you remember this anisogamy, right? Which sort of sets the stage in some sense for the kind of disparity that we see, that females are the ones who are making these decisions. Yeah, so the question really being that how are the female, on what are the females basing their decision making on? So is this based on the quality of the male, so some proxy for quality, okay, which is, it could be the song, which is an indicator of good genes. Okay. I am not sure if I address this here, but these are all competing hypotheses, that it could be a runaway selection process, it could be some direct benefit that they're deriving out of choosing a particular mate. So what exactly is driving mate choice is the question. It could be a proxy, the any particular trait can be a proxy for the quality of the male. Yeah, in that case it becomes like a good gene hypothesis. On the other hand, it could simply be that the mate choice is driven by, and this I'm speaking in evolutionary terms, not within the lifetime of an individual, is driven by higher genetic compatibility with respect to increased immunocompetence. So these are competing hypotheses. It is not as though, there's one rule for all birds or all animals. Okay, so these are just to set the stage of different competing hypotheses. I hope, does that address?
Yes, yes, it does. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, any of you, if one more question, no, yeah. If any of you doesn't have any question, then I think we'll wind up the session. Also, do post your questions anytime on the discussion forum. I can get answers from the professors via email. So please use the discussion forum. Okay, one more question. This is regarding mating system. Can you please state how important is motivation for mating in terms of virgin male on virgin female? Is this a factor in terms of choosing partner? I think you're, yes.
Yeah. So motivation for mating, for example, if a male or a female has already mated, one expects that there will be disparate. So for instance, for a male, since a previously mated male, unless it is depleted of sperm, one does not expect that the motivation should be lower. However, female, as we have discussed, is limited by the number of eggs it has, right? So if it has already fertilized, the egg is already fertilized and it has laid the eggs, then it is quite possible that the motivation for mating may be lower. And this is true not only for birds, but many other animals. In case of insects, actually, we can test these things, and also not only a previous mating status, but age of the individuals also is a major factor. So when we do experiments, not for birds, but other animals, we do first step is to check for motivation of mating. Otherwise, it is, the whole thing sort of falls flat on the face. Yes,
Yeah.
experiments, yeah, in crickets, and we do these experiments regularly in our lab. So the first step we tell is to check for motivation. Even if the female has not mated previously, it is possible that on a particular day, the motivation for mating is lower, which could be determined by multiple factors. It could be external factors or it could be internal factors. So it is an important factor. Yes.
Thanks, Manjari. Yeah, I think.
Maushami, do you want to take this?
Can we artificially create evolutionary changes in birds by modifying resources in controlled environment?
Yes, you can. You can do that. It'll take a long time just because birds live for much longer. But sometimes it can happen over very short time span also, like what was seen for the Darwin's finches. Within 2 years, like they experience change in beak size because of drought, which led to birds with larger beaks being able to perform better, survive better, and reproduce better. And as a result of it, that particular trait experienced a change in the population. And evolutionary changes can also be brought about by other factors like just inflow of individuals from another population which has different traits, so which can happen in much shorter time frame. So you can manipulate and bring about these changes.
Are there any questions? Do you want to get answers from the professors now? Please ask. Okay, I think there are no questions. So we'll wind up the session. So please post your queries on the discussion forum, or else you can directly post in, below the video, there is an option called ask a question. So you can always ask there. Yeah, thank you so much, Mosumi and Manjari, for joining the session. Thank you. Thanks, Edwin.
And I hope all of you are enjoying the course and finding it not only informational, but also something that will have a ripple effect, and you will spread this information and knowledge to others who are interested in birds. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Manjari. Thank you, Mosumi. Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks, everyone, for joining in. We'll meet in the next session, week 4. So you will get announcements on the NPTEL portal. I hope there is no technical glitches, like you all can get the Google discussion forum. You're all able to view the discussion forum, right? So please ask me now if you have any difficulties, in getting announcements of these live session announcements, notifications, anything. You can please ask me now. Yeah. So usually NPTEL sends a reminder email, or also they put the as announcements. So you can fill out your questions in the discussion, like there is a shared spreadsheet, Google spreadsheet. So you can post your questions there too. So before the live session. Okay. Hope there are no questions. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So we'll meet next week live session. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.